This video is educational in nature and is not financial advice. Trading involves risks and do your own research before making decisions. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I seem to be doing everything right, working, trying, saving, but funds are still tight, prices are going up, desires are going up too, and wages are still standing still. More and more people realize that in order to live better, they need to look for new sources. But where can you find something that really works? My name is Evelyn. I have been in the business for 10 years. Once I also started from scratch, without understanding, without a mentor, with a lot of fears. But over the years, I have studied hundreds of strategies and learned a few that bring good performance on a daily basis. They're the ones that have allowed me to do more than just step into a new one. Today, I want to show you a strategy that could be used by a beginner who has never heard of trading before. I don't think it's right to hide what works in your pocket and not share it with others. I remember how hard it was for me without a mentor, and I don't want other guys to go through the same path. If you feel like it's time to take action, watch this video to the end. Because in the very finale, I'm going to reveal something that bloggers don't usually reveal. Something that could dramatically change the way you approach trading. You ready? Then let's get started. Before we continue, let me tell you about the community I created for those who want to learn trading with confidence. This is a place where every day I show you my actions on the platform and explain the logic behind my decisions live. The format is very simple. You see how I work in real time and follow my decisions. We do not deal with dry theory, but with the live market as it is in practice. If it is important for you, not just to listen, but to learn and develop, this community is right for you. Access is now open. Everything is transparent, without unnecessary noise, just the essence. Follow the link in the pinned comment and join. And here we go. Well, let's finally get to the session. I have already opened the platform. You can see on your screen what it looks like. It remains to set the settings I need. Choose pairs and indicators. Hopefully today's indicator will allow me to make more informed choices. Okay, the settings are set and I'm ready to begin. On the chart, the upward movement is preserved and the current pause looks like a temporary slowdown. The value is approaching the area from which the movement in the opposite direction often started earlier. From my observations, this may be an important level to watch out for. Additional parameters indicate that the trend is still strong, so a continuation of the upward movement remains likely. We can see the further behavior of the chart, and it corresponds to my forecast. Now, let's move on. The situation on the chart indicates a continuation of the upward movement, so I'm going up. Before that, the line was fluctuating back and forth, but now it has returned to the upper boundary. This behavior is a classic retest. Taking into account the general direction and market behavior, let's take off. Here we have seen how the market tests the level, and it is not a bad visual example. Let's move on. This is where I draw my conclusions almost immediately. We're heading up again, and now I will explain why. The chart here breaks a level and now does a quick retest. This is when, after a breakdown, the chart line comes back up almost immediately to see if it can hold higher. I would compare it to a door you open with a key, but then push it open just in case to make sure it's open. The indicator is showing upward movement, which means the trend is continuing. Alright folks, let's move on to the next couple. There are signs of a reversal here. After the previous pair, the chart updated the maximum again, but the indicators say something else. There is a divergence. On the chart we see growth, but on the indicator, on the contrary, a decline. It's like a car gaining speed but running out of fuel. Such an imbalance often indicates that the buyer's momentum is weakening. I intend to go down. In this case, the indicator helped us to notice the weakening of the movement. Let's move on. How do you like what you see now? If you're watching this video, that's a big sign. You have an interest in new opportunities. That's a strong starting point. Yes, any new direction seems difficult at first, but that's why I created a space where all the steps are structured, clear, and logical. In my community, you can see my approach live. I openly show how I analyze the market and make decisions. Everything is live, without overload and complicated terms. You can connect by clicking the link in the attached comment. The access is open, and you can come and decide whether this format suits you. And now let's get back to our session. The scenario that I assumed was confirmed. The movement did not hold at the level and continued to decline. Now the descending dynamics is clearly visible on the chart, and I'm just following it. Acting in the opposite direction is not the most rational idea. It is much more logical to use the current situation to your advantage. Additional parameters also show that the downward movement continues, so the chosen course looks reasonable. This example shows that if a movement has gained strength, it is better not to argue with it, but to follow the trend. Let's move on. You can see that here we are moving back towards the main movement, so we're going up again. A slight deviation is observed, which is quite natural within the general upward movement. There are no signs of serious changes yet, which indicates that the current direction is being maintained. Everything is developing calmly and consistently. A case where you don't need to complicate things. Let's move on. Now I'm seeing the divergence again. The chart continues to grow while the indicator shows a decline. This is a sign that the upward momentum is weakening. In such situations, a reversal often starts. I'm going to go down based on the fact that the current movement may intensify. If the dynamics continues, there is a probability that the chart will overcome an important zone where the stops occurred earlier. Once again, my attention to detail helped me analyze the situation. Moving on, what we have here. After a period of decline, there is a confident upward movement, which overlaps the previous part of the decline. This may indicate a change of mood and strengthening of the upward dynamics. Additional parameters are also starting to point in the same direction. Taking into account the situation, we can expect a continuation of the upward movement, with an eye on the nearest zone where the stops occurred earlier. Both the chart and the indicator are pointing in the same direction, which means that the decision is well considered. Let's move on to the next pair. Let's look closely. The overall movement remains upward, but there is now a slight decline and temporary stabilization on the chart. This condition often precedes a new impulse. Based on the current picture, I see reasons to expect a continuation of growth. So, I consider the possibility of an upward movement if the current conditions persist. Movements like this are often the launching point for a strong movement. We're taking advantage of it, moving on in the final stage ahead. The situation is similar to the previous one, but now we're at the bottom of the current range. After the decline, an upward movement appears, which may indicate a change of direction. Such formations often precede a gradual recovery, not pulling, going up. We end the session on a strong note. The upward movement was expected, and we took advantage of it. My friend, now you have seen for yourself. The structural approach to trading can be clear if you use a clear system. Now you have two ways. Leave everything as it is, or try a new direction, which may change your approach to development. Imagine, you are walking through an unfamiliar forest. You can wander blindly, bumping into every branch. Or you can walk beside someone who has already traveled this path and knows every path. A mentor is someone who holds a lantern when you're walking in the dark. In my community, I share my daily breakdowns, show you how I make decisions and what I pay attention to in the process. All of this is in real time and with clear explanations so that even a beginner can feel supported. If you're interested in taking a peek inside and seeing how it works, follow the link in the pinned comment. I'll be waiting for you. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the community, and bye.